covered here. Each candidate will give a 2-minute speech, and then we'll be open for questions. And as I mentioned before, I would like to ask you to form your comment in the nature of a question, and you can direct your question to either candidate or to both of them. Both candidates may answer any question. With that, we'll start out with JeRome Brown.
Should I stand up here? Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I'd like to first of all say I appreciate the nonpartisan group for getting this forum together and being sponsored by the Kiwanis. I really appreciate that a great deal. My name is JeRome Brown. By trade, I'm a motivational speaker and a youth advocate. I do that any place, anywhere, anytime. My profession, let me tell you a couple quick notes on me real quick. I'm a part of the Rotary Club that's in Park Forest, which is an international club that serves people. I'm also the president of Toastmasters in Park Forest. I also, I'll say that part for later, but as a youth advocate and a motivational speaker, my profession do not allow me to sit on the sidelines and complain. It's detrimental that I take action and save lives, and parents who need help saving their children's lives and saving communities. My intent is not to boast about what I do, because without prayer, all is lost. Stimulating people to overcome their objectives and their downfalls and wrongdoings are easy when it's compared to justifying the wrongdoing of their elected official. See, the tax and bill payers, when they do not pay their bills, they receive final notices, and water sources are cut off, and foreclosures are set in. I say it's time for us to, as the people of Park Forest, to start cutting these elected officials and setting new leadership. Understand this, that having the highest tax bills in Rich Township and voting to pass the taxes an additional 3%, meanwhile, nevertheless, however, whatever conjunction you desire to use for this administration to raise in this economical default, what's the justification? Well, what I hear is that it's bad everywhere. I believe that, but it's worse here. As our neighboring communities create mega grocery stores and gigantic companies, our representation justify a downward spiral as Park Forest is that we don't have a straight through street in downtown Park Forest. We have a straight through street on Western with a plaza that's closed, and also on Lincoln Highway that is closed. And that's my time. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Good evening to all of you. Thanks to the Kiwanis Club and to the Nonpartisan Committee for sponsoring this forum again this evening. I was going to say one thing, but as I was listening to some of the questions that were being asked of the trustee candidates, I think I'm going to redirect some of my comments, because this whole idea of taxes is a very important one. We might as well get it clear right from the start. Number one, the Village of Park Forest does not increase your taxes 3%. It increases the portion of your taxes that come to the Village of Park Forest. That's all we have jurisdiction over. That's roughly 30%. That 30% covers all of your police and fire, your ambulances, your home inspections, all of those things that are not covered by motor fuel taxes on the street repairs, things of that sort. So it's not a 3% increase on your taxes. If you have an $8,000 tax bill, the portion that comes to the Village of Park Forest is $2,400. That $2,400, yes, we had a 3% increase on, because we had a 3% increase in what our costs were to deliver those services. Now, somebody asked before, what are you doing to keep down taxes? I can tell you that during the 12 years that I've been mayor of the Village of Park Forest, we have received over $25 million in outside grants and funding that covered expenses that otherwise the taxpayers would have had to pay for. I can tell you that when we were mandated by the Illinois Environmental Protection Agency, not because of something, it was something that happened years and years ago to build a new water plant. I personally negotiated to give us a loan that saved us $5 million in terms of interest long term, plus the fact that we were facing a $5 million penalty that we negotiated away. That kept your taxes down. And more important than anything else, we had to tear down the Marshall Field building because it was costing us $40,000 a year to maintain. It was your tax money. We had to close the golf course a couple of years ago. It was a hard decision because we were losing your tax dollars and it wasn't being utilized. When we make those decisions, we keep your taxes down. And in the future, we've got some new economic development activities that are going on. There's none any greater than the Abraham Lincoln National Airport. That will help us keep taxes down in our region. And I'm happy to answer any of your questions.
Open to questions. Don't everybody jump up at once.
That's a strong finish.
All right.
I just wanted to hear some of the, I know I went through and jotted down some of the new exciting economic development things that are going on, but I'd like to ask, what's on the top of the list in economic development?
Economic development. Okay, Brown, you want to go first?
Good. The airport is one of the innovation for the Southland area, period, for all Southside. That's something that I've been a part of at least 10 years ago when I was living in the city of Chicago, and I was a strong member of the 34th Ward, where I had fought, and I don't want to mention the other politician's name, but there are some big figures in Chicago that was totally against moving a third airport to Peatone. They wanted it at O'Hare. But outside of that, we have to bring business inside of Park Forest to deal directly with our taxes. What happens in Peatone is not a natural effect that will save Park Forest. So what we need to do, I said before, we need not just renovate the downtown area, we need to innovate the renovation of the downtown area. We need to give Park Forest its own genuine signature. Partnering with other outside communities, I don't understand what do you mean, who's going to partner with us when everyone is doing well? Check Lincoln Highway out, check University Park out, they're growing. Why would you want to go into a village that you have to pull them up? So if it's someone that would want to partner, yeah, of course it will be I think our industrial park, where there's absolutely no business, we need to open up, bring some manufacturing companies into our industrial area. And that's the only way that we will relieve some of the pressures for the taxpayers in Park Forest. One more thing, 10 seconds. The things that they keep saying here that they want to, that the services cover, no one is mentioning that the raise that the village received when the 3% went up, it covers that raise that the people of the village, which less than 10% of the people live in the village, work for the village, but we're paying those salaries with the raise. That's what is covered by that 3% that we keep hearing about.
Well, first of all, I need to correct that misconception. First, far more than 10% of the employees of the village live in the village. As a matter of fact, among our senior administrative team, the village manager, deputy village manager, the director of finance, the director of community development, the director of parks and recreation, the director of the nursing program, they're all Park Forest residents. Among our police force, we have some Park Forest residents, there are some who are not. Police years ago negotiated a contract that said that they did not have to live in the village of Park Forest. And they've done that in other communities too, because many of them were kind of concerned about their health and safety of their family when they lived in the same community where they had to have jurisdictional control. But it's absolutely false that less than 10% of our staff live in the village. Secondly, we did not give a 3% raise. There was a 2% raise that was coupled with the negotiations that were with the police and fire department. They are collective bargaining units. And those were pretty low raises compared to some of the others in the surrounding area. Our administrative staff, the manager took no raise the previous year, and our administrators were frozen for 1 year before we gave them the 2% increase. Now, on economic development, the most exciting thing right now is the Richard Dent proposal that we're working on coming to Industry Park. Richard Dent has a high energy efficient company that helps small businesses maintain energy efficiency so that they can save money in terms of their operations. And he has signed a preliminary agreement. He's doing the due diligence. He saved the Chicago Public Schools $86 million on their energy costs. If this business comes to Park Forest, it will help us draw other light manufacturing. In the downtown, the food co-op has just announced that it's coming to the downtown. That will stimulate more activity in the downtown. We have one of the things that I think is very important for our economic development in our village. We all know that the rental property in the heart of our downtown was a detriment for years and kept people from wanting to come to the downtown. Go by the north side of the rental property today. You will see all new windows, all new porches, new storm doors. They, in fact, have renovated the inside of those apartments. They're much more attractive. That has now become an encouragement to draw more businesses into the downtown. In addition to that, what we were seeing for a number of years was for every business that came to Park Forest, we had 2 that were leaving. That's not the case right now. Do we lose businesses? We certainly do. But Madison loses businesses. Unfortunately, Borders is closing. Blockbuster and Olympia Fields closed. Burger King in Richton Park closed. Businesses have closed all over. And we are fighting to try to keep all the businesses in our region because Park Forest employees are employed in some of those other communities too.
Could I do a rebuttal?
After we finish with all the questions?
No, in the rules it says that I can do a rebuttal.
All right, certainly.
Yeah. My rebuttal on that is simply that he said that as far as the raises are concerned, it was a light raise. Well, in Cook County, that's most of what Park Forest is built in. Cook County came in and cut 1,000 jobs and took cuts, and the new president of Cook County also took a $10,000 cut. So I don't know what you mean. Most people, all of my friends, are not getting raises now. And they work in the private sector and in the public sector. In Fortune 500 companies, I just don't know of many people that I could dial up and say, when the last time you got a raise? And no matter what percent it is. The information that I got, that the percentage of people who work in Park Forest, if I'm wrong, the meeting that Gary said, the only meeting that he said he saw me in was last night, I got the information from there. Okay? And Chicago Heights have more people that live in Park, there are more people who live in Chicago Heights that work for Park Forest than people in Park Forest that work for Park Forest. Thank you.
John, can I correct that? The statistics that were given to us last night were regarding total number of people who work in Park Forest, not work for the village of Park Forest, who work in Park Forest. That means they teach at Rich East, or they work at Ludeman Center, or they're at the bank, one of the 3 banks that we have in town, or any one of a number of other activities. It's not people who work for the village, it's people who work in the village. That's completely different.
That Richard Dent project, Mr. Ostenburg, that Richard Dent project, I got a question and I don't know how to answer it. It goes a couple of ways. That Richard Dent project, did he ever do that project before? If yes, explain, where he did it at, where he started at. Did it work? Huh? The Richard Dent project. He said the Richard Dent project? Yes. Have you started that before? Where? And if yes, did it work? Where?
The project that Richard Dent is engaged in has been one that he has been engaged in probably for about the last 12 years, since he got out of professional football. He has, as I mentioned previously, his activity has saved the Chicago Public Schools $86 million in energy costs. He has partnered with NICOR in the greater Chicagoland region. There was just a write-up about this in Crane Chicago Business. Also, there was an item on one of the national television programs. The staff that he is using in this have been people who have been working in energy efficiency, both in terms of residential usage of energy and business usage of energy. So they are all experienced and they do have a track record. And it will not be any village money that's invested in that. He's investing his own money. The operation would locate where the old Hollymatic or Zulanis building or Blue Ridge Farms, whatever you may remember it as, was located at the corner of Orchard and North Street. They are doing their due diligence right now on the building because the building has fallen into a state of disrepair. And they intend to use all local businesses in terms of renovation of that building and getting it back online. So that will be the creation of more jobs locally. And of course, it will add to our tax base.
Can we ask some other questions first?
I just want to piggyback on what he said.
One more question for you.
So,
One more for you.
okay, one more question. That's all I get.
From you.
Richard did try that project in Inglewood in Chicago, and it didn't work. And then over on the way talking about opening it up at, I drove down that area, the industrial area.
Is that a question?
It's a daycare right there. Yeah, that's what I'm asking. It didn't work over there, and I'm just asking.
Not a question.
Yes, that's a question.
No, it isn't.
That's a question. Did it work in Inglewood? No. And I'm asking the
You're
question. I just
answering
asked
your
the
own
question.
question.
John, let me just answer that. It is true that the first attempt that Richard did in the city with Inglewood, they did have problems with. And that's part of the reason why he wants to come to a suburban setting, because in large part he had a hard time attracting the kind of businesses there that would dovetail with his business. A suburban setting is a much more conducive setting for doing that. And actually, Maurice Jones from Will County Economic Development staff was the one who put him in touch with Park Forest initially. Now, this has been done in Chicago. It was done with the Center for Energy Technology. CNT did it, and at the time that CNT did it, they did 3 neighborhoods, Park Forest, the city of Aurora, and the Pilsen neighborhood in Chicago. And it was effective in all 3 of them. In Park Forest, for example, we had numerous high energy efficient air conditioners that were put into a number of units that keeps the overall energy usage down. So it has worked, it is successful. They did have some problems in Inglewood because they couldn't attract the ancillary businesses to that neighborhood.
Good question.
My question is, as far as your history goes, how long have you lived in Park Forest, and what are your qualifications for asking to be our village president?
I'm glad that you asked that question. How long have, let me get it straight, how long have I lived in Park Forest? Approximately 3 years. And what was related?
And what are your qualifications for asking us to vote you in as our president?
Okay, and please let everyone know I'm a newcomer to Park Forest. And being a youth advocate and a motivational speaker, I'm always new to stages. So and just to give you another example of a newcomer, and I think I used this example before, if anyone had been in any harm's way, when you call the police department, you know, you hit the quickest numbers you know, which is 911. And when the police answer that phone, I don't think you ask them, how long have you been on the force before you could come and help me? So my qualifications, I've worked for 3 Fortune 500 companies. I've ran areas from, at one time, from Chicago, south side from 103rd to Kankakee, the northeast end of Indiana, and a piece of Iowa for United Insurance, where I once again teach people about how to make money. I would work with primarily where I put people in businesses and show them how to run businesses. I work for Citibank. Like I say, I'm a youth advocate and a motivational speaker. My heart has always been to make my community the best possible way that it can grow. And as far as that is concerned, is the background of school, education, jobs. I've created job fairs for President John Stroger before he passed away. The seminar that I did, it wasn't a regular job fair where they said, let's have a group of employers that say, you want a job. I did a 3-day seminar to teach people how to prepare a resume, how to dress, questions to ask, how to look at people in their eyes when they ask questions. then they got a certificate, then we invited the employers in. So I have strategies and I have connections throughout the state of Illinois that will come and band with me to make this a successful village.
Thank you. Let's see, I haven't been in town as long as May or Georgia. I've lived in Village Park Forest for 33 years. I came to Park Forest originally to take a position at Prairie State College as Director of Community Relations and the Executive Director of the Prairie State College Foundation. I was responsible for raising money for Prairie State through the foundation. I then was recruited to go to Governor State University, where for 9 years I served as the Director of University Relations. I taught at both institutions also, taught journalism and graphic design at Prairie State and English and communications at Governor State. I was elected to the Illinois General Assembly in 1994, served 2 years in the House of Representatives, and left Governor State to do that. Prior to that, I had served 5 years as a village trustee. And in 1995, when I left the General Assembly, I went to work for the Chicago Teachers Union, initially as a communications consultant. Then I became editor of their newspaper, which won national awards during that tenure, and ultimately was the chief of staff for the Chicago Teachers Union, which was a 40,000 member organization that has a budget roughly the size of the Village Park Forest. So it's a very similar kind of an administrative environment. In addition to that, I've served on a number of South Suburban boards and commissions and have been recognized for some of my work. A couple of years ago, Diversity Inc. gave me the annual Diversity Award, of which I'm very proud, for work in promoting diversity, equality among women, gender, race, and age, fighting discrimination in gender, race, and age. And then on top, the biggest thing though right now, in addition to being Mayor of Park Forest, Congressman Jackson selected me to work on the initial formation of the Abraham Lincoln National Airport, and I serve as the vice chairman along with Mayor Al McCowan of University Park as the chairman. Oh, and also I'm on the executive board of South Suburban Mayors and Managers and a member of the National League of Cities Community and Economic Development Committee.
The time is getting late. We'll take one more question. All right.
Mr. Brown,
Yes.
what is your vision for Park Forest?
I have a short-term and a long-term goal for Park Forest. Short-term is to get the village up and running. Like I said, with my past experience, I'm sorry, I'm used to doing this. I keep thinking there's a mic here. So. I just keep grabbing it, but there's nothing there. In the businesses that I've held, from the insurance to banking industries, I've always, for some reason or another, was put in the rotten part where they were failing. And one thing that I'm proud of was with United Insurance, I had went into an office in Crestwood, Illinois, and they hadn't made a profit in 5 years. And within 6 months, I didn't hit zero, I made a profit in 6 months. So to get the downtown area up and running, to get the industrial area up and running, continuing to support the education system that Park Forest have is my immediate goal. And that would take down the taxes in Park Forest and hopefully the water bill that we have in Park Forest. Long-term goal is I'm working on a plan right now, and if I'm not successful here, it will hurt my heart. I want you all to know that. But I will still work with the mayor in any capacity I will. I would like to create a city within the park, a city within a city. It's something that I'm working on now, and I think that it will put I know that it will put Park Forest on a map, and we will be a town that is noted for not the south side south side suburb. It'll be known as Park Forest. Thank you.
Same question? Sure.
Oh, I thought she said Mr. Brown.
Yeah, I did.
Well, he has the opportunity to answer all.
And Mr. Ostenburg.
Okay.
Thank you. I think over the last several years, the consultants that the village have used have pretty much focused on Park Forest's special niche relates to the arts. There's no question about that. Over the years, the success of Freedom Hall, the success of things like the Illinois Theater Center, the Tallgrass Arts Gallery, the Illinois Philharmonic, originating in Park Forest, growing out of Park Forest, there certainly is a niche for the arts, and we want to continue to do that. We've put a lot of emphasis into that, and we want to continue to see the arts grow because we think that as time progresses, more and more people are going to gravitate to that as a center of Park Forest. My personal commitment above that is to have Park Forest be a leader in this whole notion of green manufacturing, green industry, the eco-friendly kind of industry. I've done a lot of work with the Chicago Manufacturing Renaissance Council. A lot of people don't realize there's 700 small businesses in Chicago that do manufacturing. And the emphasis now is in the area of trying to convert them to being more energy efficient. That's why we're very excited about having Richard Dent agree to put his business in Park Forest, because that will dovetail with this other work that we've been doing to try to get those green businesses, because those are businesses that create jobs. Now, in addition to that, working with the Chicago Renaissance Manufacturing Council, we have tried to draw on a school that's in the city of Chicago that's called Austin Polytech, that does training of young students in that kind of an environment to prepare them not only for frontline jobs in manufacturing, but for supervisory positions, for entrepreneurial positions, for the kind of management things that have to be done. And we're looking to work with some of our sister communities. We've had 2 meetings so far with mayors of the area communities to try to see if we can develop that kind of a concept. Because if we can have a trained workforce, that will help us draw that. That will contribute to that second leg of what I think the future of Park Forest can be. And if we do get the airport, there are going to be lots of ancillary businesses. If we're a leader in those 2 areas, we will be able to draw from those.
Thank all of you for coming, and I take this time for a commercial for all of our guests. Since you're here and you've seen that there are really human beings in the Kiwanis organization, we'd like to invite all of you, any of you and all of you, to join us. We're open to new members, and we meet twice a month.
Do we have a closing statement?
All right, yeah. I almost cut them off. Sorry about that.
Thank you, Jen.
John, ready to go home.
Before everybody gets out the door, we'll have our closing statement. Again, I want to just thank all of you for the opportunity to be here this evening. I've been before this group before. This is the 4th time that I'm asking for your vote for Village President of Park Forest. I have worked very hard, given a lot of my time and energy to this job. There's a lot of things that we feel are right at the point of where we're going to be seeing some pretty remarkable things. All the hard work has been done. One of the things about economic downturns is that it kind of levels the playing fields. You know, and for a long time we were kind of struggling while everybody else was moving ahead with full force. But the truth of the matter is, right now, the Village of Park Forest doesn't have as many home foreclosures as our neighboring communities do. We are not the only one with empty storefronts. All you got to do is drive down some of the major thoroughfares and you see that there are other people there too that are suffering from the same kind of thing. And as bad as it is, because no matter where a business is when it closes, those employees who work in those businesses, they live in all of our communities, which is one of the reasons why I believe that a regional approach is so important to lifting all of our areas up. But the truth is, Park Forest is better positioned right now because the playing field is much more level than it's ever been in the past. And continuing to do the right things, working the right way, I think we will begin to see a lot more success. The fact is, though, you've got to look, I was asked by somebody not too long ago, are things in Park Forest better than they were 12 years ago? There's no question that they are. We do have more businesses, we've kept more businesses, we have more activity in the community than we did, and all of that stuff together is positioning us where we can accomplish even better things going forward. So I ask for your support for one more term as your village president. I believe that working with the existing board, with the volunteers we have in the community, we have 100 volunteers on our boards and commissions, I think we can continue to make our community a strong, viable community in the south suburbs, and more than anything else, a community that other communities respect. So thank you very much, and I ask for your support.
Once again, thank you everyone for coming out. I appreciate the time to hear me as a newcomer come to Park Forest and express my views and to raise a young family in Park Forest. And I'll just start off by saying, just like the mayor said, he wants you all to give him one more term. I'm asking you to give me a term. Give me a chance to prove myself. I don't want to be a lifetime politician or a mayor of Park Forest. I want to get it on the right track. If Park Forest is in a great position now, hand over the keys and let someone with some new ideas come in and take it to the next level. Stand by my side and help me, guide me. If you have some connections, let's use them as one, and let's stop dividing the village of Park Forest. I have a problem when we say about foreclosure are all over. There's not a place in Park Forest, north, south, east, west, or in the middle that is not vacant homes and foreclosures. I heard May Brandon ask about the commitment of a person that's in Park Forest. Like I said, I come in Park Forest becoming a member of the Toastmasters, then shortly thereafter becoming the president of Toastmaster, becoming a part of the Rotary Club. I have a daughter that started at Rich East, who's on an honor roll student, who ran the track, who's running on the track team, who tried out for the cross-country team and wanted to quit, but I talked to her about what commitment and teamwork is. Now she's looking at trying to get a scholarship to college. This is what I want to show our youth, that whatever you out there, it's not a time frame on it. If you want something, you go get it. You build a pattern and show people what I want, I'll go out and get it. I'm not asking anyone in here to give me anything. I've come here and I've showed my presence. I've helped my neighbors. I've showed my daughter how not to be a quitter or a loser. I have a 15-month-old, 15-month son who's already in Head Start, been walking since he was 8 months. He's ready to take over the world. That's right. And I named him Dash. Do you understand that? I named my son Dash. And it's not just because of the speed that this guy, it's about who he is. And the Dash, see, when you look at a headstone, you look at a headstone, have a birthday and a death date, and a dash in between. That dash in between means, Dash, you have to have some character about yourself. People don't care about when you were born and when you died. They want to know who you were while you was here. Please vote for me on April 5th as your new president of the Village of Park Forest. Thank you.
Thank you all for coming, and you know what? You're going to get a real treat. We're going to sing you up. When Kiwanis falls, when Kiwanis falls, let everyone stand up. When Kiwanis falls, when Kiwanis falls, let each one raise their cup. As we